it's Ben here again, and I've got another channel update for you. I'm sitting here in quite a warm room, having just recorded the next 4 videos for the next month's worth of releases. We've got some interesting topics. I'm not going to give them away, but I want to talk about some stuff I've got right here and tell you a little bit about what is going on with the channel. It's been a pretty crazy learning curve. We're about a month in to going pretty much full-time on this YouTube channel, which is not really something I guess I ever thought I would be saying, but I am here and it feels like 6 months. Honestly, this month has been so busy, and sticking to that weekly schedule, releasing a video each week, especially when they're discussion style videos like I've been putting out, has been really tough. I'm actually producing videos in batches of 4. So 1 a week, obviously 4 a month on a rolling schedule. So I'm pretty much writing all of them in roughly a week, and then I'm doing some rough edits with a rough voiceover. So I'll come and sit here and I'll record it, but without shooting. And, you know, I'll cut the whole lot together and I'll kind of place the story a little bit, because sometimes you sort of write something and you think it's going to go a certain way in terms of what footage you can show to make your point, and you find out that that doesn't exist, or actually that's different. So I do an edit for everything with a scratch voiceover first, so just a rough voiceover, and then I'll come and sit here with the screen behind me and get some footage up on the screen, and I'll shoot everything proper, and then we'll get that put in the timeline and, you know, music, and basically smooth the whole thing over and add the graphics and the attributions and the stuff like that, all that good stuff that needs to be in there. So the schedule has been pretty wild, and I really hope you've been enjoying the content. This channel, I never saw it as being only about these discussion style videos. So when I say discussion, I mean that, you know, picking up topics like chase tag, or, you know, like escape rooms and things like that, and talking about them. Basically anything that relates back to real world games in any way. And usually that means game theory. So that's like, why do games work? That kind of stuff. And I find that stuff super interesting. And I think there's a lot to talk about there. And I think there's a lot to learn in terms of designing games. But that's not 100% what I really saw the channel being. And, you know, COVID being around basically means that that's the only thing that I could get on with in the meantime. And so I thought, hey, let's build up a resource of this stuff so that anyone who's really excited about this stuff and wants to start inventing games and things has some stuff to get them thinking and get the ideas flowing. And I really am so happy that there's been some really interesting, like genuinely really cool discussions going on in the comments section on those YouTube videos, which, holy crap, I didn't think that would ever be possible, to actually have like super interesting discussions. And you guys have just continued to impress me, and, you know, I just amazed by that. You know, you're coming up with such interesting thoughts, and I want to make videos about all of those thoughts. So, you know, thank you for being the start of this lovely community and getting some really intelligent stuff going on. So I've been posting those, but the main thing I really saw this channel as being about is showing real world games being played. I think I spoke on the last update about streaming and how computer game streaming and showing yourself playing a game or playing online is something that obviously loads of people are into. It's entertaining to watch how someone tackles problems, or it's funny, all of these good things. And I wanted to do that with real world games. Now, obviously it wouldn't be live, or at least not to start with, but I am thinking about that. But we organized a meetup last weekend, which was rained off. And this is kind of the earliest we could really do this with the social distancing and all that stuff. So that was rained off. It's been put back to this weekend. So as I speak, this weekend coming up, we're expecting to get together a group of about 10 people to play Seektag, which is a socially distanced game as it happens. Seektag, as you can find on the website, which is now live but still not finished because I still have to add some content to it, but you can have a look at an early release of the website if you want at seektag.co.uk, and you'll be able to see on there the rules for the game Seektag, which is the flagship game of this channel, which is something I've been working on for years. What I wanted to do was to create a game that felt like it had the complexity of a computer game, but without obviously, you know, some of the limits. And when people have tried to do this stuff before in real world settings, it's always failed. And there are some funny things about transitioning computer games to the real world. For example, projectiles are used in computer games probably more even than they should, because they're an easy way to give you the ability to interact with stuff that isn't right next to you. With real world games, that's always a huge problem. If something isn't right next to you, you basically have no real way, unless you're going to, go to a field and do something that does involve projectiles, and then suddenly you've got lots of options. So what I liked about the idea of doing a real world game without projectiles, but what I liked was the idea of being able to affect things that are far away from you. And so I came up with this idea for Seektag, which is basically hide and seek mixed with tag. And you tag someone by spotting them. So everyone wears a number front and back. And if you can record somebody's number, so you don't know what numbers anyone's wearing, if you can record their number and they don't record your number, then you score 5 points. And the other thing that's going on is there are 3 checkpoints, which are live in each game, and the checkpoints change between games. You don't know which they're going to be until the game starts. And you get 3 points if you can tag a checkpoint. So the game can be played in a number of different ways, and that's something which I really like, because basically you can break the game. Like, the whole point is that you break the game and you figure out new and really effective ways to play it. And I really like that there are multiple ways to play it. So, for example, you might be somebody who wants to run around and be like Jason Bourne the whole time, like a spy game. You might want to do that, and that might work for you. Equally, there might be somebody who basically wants to think their way around the problem and just find the perfect spot and get a pair of binoculars and just make it work for them and catch people coming through a constriction or something like that. Anyway, so Seektag, we're going to meet up this weekend. We've got about 10 people, and we're going to go play in this amazing area in London, just north of St Pancras, that we're calling Kingdom. We've been designating these arenas and naming checkpoints in the arenas. I'll get into that another time. The fun stuff, how do you film that? This is my solution. So this is obviously a baseball cap with a GoPro mounted on it. Now, the streaming thing has been in my mind this whole time, because the thing about streaming is you've got a constant commentary, and it's made interesting if the streamer is good by that commentary. Just watching someone play in total silence is usually not that interesting. The people I like best are telling me what they're thinking, what the plan is, what they're worried about, what they're trying to do, or they're commenting on funny things or whatever. And I wanted that to be able to happen in a real world setting. So I had to build this thing. So it's just a GoPro, right? It's a GoPro, and you could put it on your head or whatever. But there's another thing going on right here. And what that is there's actually a microphone that I've put through the peak of the cap, like this. And this is a tail which is going to go down my back to a battery, because the GoPro batteries are terrible. And I want to be able to film game after game. So I'm going to have a battery in a waist bag. So basically, I've tested this out, and this microphone ends up being like pretty much right here. It could not be in a better place, basically. If you've done any shooting of any kind or filmed anything of any kind, sound is a mission every single time. So this is basically my way to get voiceover level sound and a player point of view out of just a cap. So I don't know if that's been done before, but it has now. So you'll be able to see the results of that, as I'll be starting to post some games after we play on the weekend. And what I'm really hoping is that we might be able to get a regular group together who want to get out and actually play these games and innovate in these games and get little teams together and get little competitions going and things like that. And generally just run around and have some fun. And obviously we can play other games. This is the other thing. There will be a second view. And you might wonder why this? So when I've used GoPros before, I found it's really helpful to be able to have a stick of some sort. And why have I not just used a selfie stick? Well, I don't know really. I built this and painted it bright pink so that it looks as little like a weapon as possible. Because let's face it, if I'm running around London holding this thing, we need it to not look threatening in any way. Pink is great for that. It's a beautiful color. I'm a fan. And again, you can see this time we've got these are Rode video micro mics, which via this little pack will actually go straight into the GoPro. Same thing with the sound, with the power. is going to go up my sleeve to the battery bank. And this one has got a dead cat windshield on it as well. I did actually put a little bit of material over the end here, so hopefully it shouldn't be a problem, but if it is, then I can use the sound from that one as well. Sound is so important. People underestimate that all the time. And this is basically just velcroed around a kind of foam mount, which I've mounted straight to this thing. And then it's just got some Velcro straps to keep it all tidy down the bottom there. So anyway, Seektag this weekend. I am so excited. The other thing on the site that you'll be able to see is Tag Code. That's on the site, and that's a game like a tabletop game, sort of encoding, decoding language game that I made years ago. That's on the site. The other game that's on there is called Finch. Now, quickly, the story behind this is that I used to run a parkour class. The kids that came along to that class basically wanted to be challenged with parkour, but not just in a kind of linear, boring kind of practice this one movement kind of way. So we invented a game, and it turned out to be really good. So much so that the kids that came along to the class didn't want to do anything but play this game. We always just called it The Game. I've since called it Finch, and I've written up the rules and refined it slightly. And it is a lot of fun. The issue with Finch right now, and the reason we're not filming any of that, is that that is a close proximity game, which we can't really do right now, which really sucks. But, you know, hopefully sometime soon we can get on with that as well. And then we'll start adding more good stuff. So Seektag is being played this weekend. I really hope you're going to start seeing game videos online really soon. So I'm not going to give away any of the topics for the videos this coming month, but you might be able to guess them, because one of them I wanted to tell you a little story about. So our old cat was called Ling. He was a Siamese, and he was absolutely lovely. A really clever little guy, and a fully fledged member of the family. And we used to play games with Ling. Siamese are quite a lot like dogs. They have a little bit more going on upstairs than most cats, and they can totally grasp games like that. So let me set the scene for you. So I was a teenager, I'd be sitting doing my homework or whatever it was in my room, usually video editing and making graphics and CG and stuff like that. Anyway, of an evening, I'd be sitting in my room, I'd be on my computer. And then I'd hear something coming up the stairs, and Ling would run up the stairs, charge into my room, darting around, and he would look for somewhere to hide. He would jump in behind something and go totally quiet. And I sort of thought, okay, that's a little bit strange, but cool, he's just doing cat stuff. That's fine. Carry on working. About 5 or 10 seconds later, I hear my dad creeping up the stairs, pokes his head into my room, and he goes, "Is he in here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's over there." And so he creeps over to where Ling is hiding, and he claps his hands, and Ling jumps out, and my dad runs away, and Ling waits for about 10 seconds, and then goes to find my dad. And I just love this memory so much, because there's so much going on here. I mean, first of all, it just shows that when a game is simple enough, it can be enjoyed by almost anyone, including animals. But the thing I love about it is it's just such a pure enjoyment, that kind of thing. And it was just so wonderful. So in case you hadn't worked it out, the fun thing is that my dad and the cat would take it in turns to hide. It wasn't just that my dad would run after the cat or the cat would run after my dad. They would literally take it in turns, and they would have huge games over, the whole evening. They would have these back and forward games that would, dissolve into other things like chasing string and all kinds of stuff like that. And I just absolutely adored that. So anyway, little hint as to what one of the videos might be about, but I wanted to share that one with you. So for one of the other videos that I've been producing this month, I had to look through a lot of Gladiators footage. So Gladiators being the old TV show that was on in the 90s, which amazingly, I actually got to go and see. I can't imagine, I must have been about 7 perhaps, maybe 6 even. And my mum and dad, quite out of character actually, took me to go and see Gladiators. We didn't tend to go out to see stuff like that very much, and that wasn't something I really wanted to do much. I was very shy and kind of afraid of things, I guess, as a kid. So for us to go and see Gladiators at the National Indoor Arena, I think it was called, in Birmingham or somewhere, or maybe it was at Wembley. I think it might have been at Wembley. You know, we went and we sat up in the back of the rake of seating, and we watched them film Gladiators. I don't remember a great deal about it, other than it was the episode where I think Vogue like hurt her neck or broke her neck or something, which was all a little bit scary and worrying at the time. The other thing I remember about it is it was very loud, and I just hadn't been to see any concerts or kind of things like that before. So I think my young ears found it extremely loud, and back in those days, I shouldn't think anyone was really kind of paying any attention to whether that was okay for people. So there we go, I survived. But the thing that was most enjoyable, I think, because I didn't quite get that it was a lot of fun. Like, you know, characters like Wolf, as you probably remember, was this kind of super kind of badass, like angry kind of character. Looking at that now, you know, I think he's fantastic. I think he's absolutely brilliant. At the time, I was genuinely afraid of this guy. I thought, you know, I looked around the room and thought, okay, that guy, I don't know what's going on with him, but that is worrying. I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. So I was pretty worried about Wolf. But the thing I found particularly interesting was that, you know, sitting there with my dad, we were watching them in the interval in between. You know, they kind of come out at the beginning and they set up all of these different challenges that they then film. And halfway through the filming, they clear all of that stuff away and they bring out a load more stuff. And these are all of the games that the game designers on Gladiators have invented. So it's stuff like the one where you swing and you try and grab the balls off the big stick, or the climbing one where they try and literally pull you off the wall. And then, of course, at the end, they set up the Eliminator thing with the travelators and the rope climbing and the swinging through the net at the end and stuff like that. So anyway, as far as Gladiators goes, I've been looking through some of the old footage, and I found this absolute gem, which includes, from a celebrity episode, something pretty funny happening, which you probably wouldn't see coming.
So fast on his feet, look at that! Oh, he's so quick, no wonder he's won an FA Cup medal and 2 England caps. Fash is down. Oh! Beautiful 2 points there from Neil. And Fash is down, he's not getting up. Something seems to be wrong, is he winded? Oh, I wonder what's up with Fash.
John, don't let him see you like that.
Well, Fash is not winded. It's something far worse. He's split his shorts. And John picks up a red ball. Well, he's certainly well famous for his ball control.
Well, John, my little star was all worried about you there, falling over. What happened?
Well, I exposed myself on a first degree, and I thought I'd better go down.
Indecent exposure.
Save myself my own being humiliated.
Well, you haven't been humiliated. You picked up 6 points.
Thanks, Ollie.
That's it for Fash and Neil.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
From the Powerball team.
Merry Christmas to you too, lads. Ho, ho, ho. And Fash wrapping up his presents for Christmas.
Fash! What's the matter? What's the matter? What are you hiding? You've got nothing to hide, boy. They ripped you to pieces, didn't they, eh?
What a pantomime this show is turning out to be. We've had the Ugly Sisters, Widow Twanky, and now we've had Little John.
So who knew? I mean, hey, it was the 90s, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not that specifically, but wow, that show just looks so 90s and I just love it. And what a great example of game design as well. Like, you know, hey, that still stands up today. It's still interesting to watch. And, you know, the characters, the stories in that. What a show. So anyway, the only other thing I was going to mention about how it's been going this last month is that in terms of presenting and stuff like that, that's been quite a journey for me, because, you know, in terms of the post-production and the actual editing stuff and the overlays and things like that, the technical, I've been doing that my whole life. You know, I'm super comfortable with all of that stuff, and lighting, and obviously setting up this, and, you know, all of this stuff, super in my comfort zone. But presenting, I've done a bit of, but actually quite sporadically, like not for any length of time. But wow, doing it solidly for a month and actually having a turnover of videos to keep up with, really, I mean, they always say that it teaches you a lot, but wow, does it teach you a lot. I feel like I've got so much more comfortable with it, and hopefully that's going to come across, and you'll see that I'm just getting more natural, I guess. So that's been something I've been working on, and I've been talking to my friend Rabin about as well. He's actually in a similar place where he's needing to be somebody who can put an idea across or start a discussion or what have you. He's a gymnastics coach, so it's for his gym. He wants to start developing their reach and the conversations they're having, the questions they're asking, that kind of stuff. So it is a process. I don't think I'm far enough in yet to really offer any advice, other than just that I've really felt like doing this regularly has just made a huge difference. It's amazing how it kind of shakes down the little things, and you end up sort of finding a style, I suppose, that just feels comfortable and comes naturally, and that you can find your way back to quite easily. So it doesn't end up being so varied. And the other thing is I'm not using an auto cue for any of this. So obviously I'm writing the script, and then I'm basically memorizing a few lines at a time. I've got quite good at that. So it's like the poor man's auto cue, if you like. So yeah, that's been going quite well, and that's getting a lot easier to do just as I get used to doing it, which is speeding up my process as well. And that helps because it doesn't get too stale on the brain, you know, so it keeps it kind of fresh. And hopefully I'm managing to, you know, be a little bit more casual and stuff like that, which is something that it would be good for me to do anyway. So hopefully that is coming across. That's a little roundup of what's been going on this last month. It feels like it's been so long, but hell, I mean, things I'm looking forward to filming this weekend. We're going to film some actual games, get those up on the channel, which is really what I saw the channel being about. You know, I saw that as the main thing, with the discussion videos really just being a base for that. So we've got 4 new videos coming this month, discussion wise, and that's each week on a Wednesday. And then the other stuff's going to be appearing in between. I've got an Instagram account now, finally, obviously at Seektag, which you can follow if you want. I'm going to be posting some other stuff, especially behind the scenesy stuff, a little bit like this thing. Anything else I'm building or doing to make this whole thing work, I'll be posting on there. But yeah, if you have any questions for the next update, chuck them in the comments and I'll try and answer them. Otherwise, just thank you for being along for this ride. You know, I'm trying to build a community here. This isn't just a channel that just puts stuff out and, you know, says, there you go. I really want to develop a little community of people who want to get together and develop really cool games, and get a little group together who want to go play, you know, these games on maybe like a weekly or an every other week kind of basis. I want to film stuff. I want to find crazy new ways to play these things. Like, I want people to innovate and break them and just like come up with ridiculously awesome strategies and stuff like that. So thank you for being a part of this little journey, and hopefully we can start something really big here. We'll see. To start with, we're going to get some games filmed, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for being here. See you later.